Amazing. I was just marginally making it. But I'll tell you, welcome everybody to this edition of Hanging Out with Temi. I've got Professor Mimi Watts on the show. How are you doing? And I'll tell you how I'm doing.
Hello, everyone. I think it's been a big week for all of us, Africa Day week.
Mm.
So, yes, how am I doing? Excellent, because it's been a wonderful weekend. And, Mama Temi and I and others were all there celebrating on Saturday. Africa Day is 25th of May every year, but in Melbourne, we celebrated on the 31st of May, and it was absolutely fabulous. I hope you had a great Africa Day yourselves.
Yeah, I did, and every person that went with us from Wyndham, friends of Wyndham, they had a blast. It was beautiful. But thank you. I saw your uh, snippet on LinkedIn. I'm like, Prof, you and your people and the nation and your support, as busy as you are, you're still there, grounded, supporting what matters to you, which is people, and that's wealth. So I say you're wealthy then.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's all about impact. And we started small about, 12, 13 years ago in a small community room in Collingwood with
Yeah,
small seed funding. And
yeah.
you would not believe that people had disposable plates with pita bread. And now it is a 200, almost a $200 a head dinner with 550 guests plus. And it just keeps getting bigger. And I've been able to step back and see other people take it to the next step. And I think as a leader, that's what you should do. You step back sometimes and then hand over the baton.
That's what you should do. That's what you should do. So I know I experienced those days and then took a break, and you guys dragged me back this time. And it was good. It was good. So
Yeah.
thank you so very much. This week has been busy, you know.
Yeah.
So we've been away in Ballarat.
I know.
Ballarat. And then so Friday we went. Saturday we came back to Africa Day. We went back to Ballarat, came back on Sunday to church, and then went back to Ballarat. Busy, but
I'm
we
glad you're
made
here.
I'm here.
I'm glad
And
you're here. And your presence on Saturday was absolutely fabulous. We had the premier who acknowledged your presence and other people as well. So it was fun. And all the ministers, all our who is who in Melbourne. I mean, maybe, here. It's good to see where we are as a community and as a people. Every
yeah,
day for me is Africa Day, as you all know.
it's African Day. I encourage people. I mean, Australian also want us to embrace our Africanness, because
Yeah.
that's the beauty and the culture and the color and the flavor and the dynamic that we bring to the nation. They don't want us to lose our identity. So kudos to everyone that is part of the community. But unfortunately, two of our ladies, did you see the messages?
Just as I sat down, yes, I did. That's all right.
Yeah. And when Deborah says she's busy, she's barely breathing. So
Yeah.
that's okay. And Liz as well. Uh, we know,
Yeah.
but I wish them all the very best.
Yeah.
But tonight's topic, married and unmarried women. So this came up. We had a different topic, and we were having conversation with Professor Mimi, and she's like, I don't know how we got to married and unmarried. I'm like, that's such a topic. Like let's dive into that a little bit. And I know in the past we did something similar, I believe, but tonight I'm looking at the angle that you're going to take it to. It sounded, yeah, I think the crafting of it is a bit funny, but I
The
have an
wording,
idea. The wording, yeah, I like it. I really like it. In as much as the topic sounds very touchy and sensitive, but I think it's a very important topic because a whole lot of people are in this situation. And we don't know how to get out of it. I mean, they don't know how to get out of it. But
Yeah.
I'll yield the floor to you. Yeah. Mm, so
Thank you
sad.
so much. I don't know. This is one of those sensitive topics, and
Mm,
I'm sure the questions will be coming. So keep your eye on the
uh,
question and let's answer the audience questions.
yeah.
Because the first thing is let's define what married, unmarried women are, quote
Yeah.
unquote. And we're talking about women who find themselves in situations where they have to carry every responsibility. And there's little acknowledgement of that. And
Mm,
for some, they want to keep the title of we are married. For
mm,
others, there are those cultural bounds. And you ask the question, why? And it is heavy. And as somebody who interacts and travels, it is a serious problem. And a lot of
mm,
people are putting up a front
mm.
that they are married and they are not. So if you're a woman, by not by your choice, but you find yourself that it is up to you to pay every bill, to look after yourself, to look after your family and everything, you should ask yourself, what is your classification? I've heard expressions as men in skirts. And sometimes you see the women out there, they're pushing, it's almost like they want everything, they want to grab everything. Sometimes it's not because they really want to, it's because they are forced to in that situation. And this
Okay.
is something that we need to explore a little bit. And yeah, when you listen, when you observe, a lot of women, they find themselves in those situations. The sad thing that I've also come across, especially within our communities, is that you find a lot of men who may have certain skills, but they feel they are too important to do certain jobs. So as a result, it's like they're doing their own business, but most of them are not, they're really not earning an income. And sadly, again, lots of the wives are in positions that I'll call secured income positions, like in the healthcare sector, in the education sector, etc., because then that leaves him the opportunity to maybe go away for 2 or 3 months with little or very limited accountability. Please don't mix this up with supporting your partner. Two different things.
Yeah.
Two different things. These are
Mm,
situations where you find yourself in a situation where, by no choice of your own, somebody literally, it's easier for them to do little or nothing. And of course, because there are children involved, there are other responsibility. The burden is not shared, it is then on the woman. This is where we start talking about the married, unmarried women.
yeah. Okay. So just to define it, as you said, tonight's topic is specifically about the women, uh, so to say, that are wearing pants and they are
Mm.
pretending,
Yeah.
according to what you've just that you've explained. So, unmarried, you're married, in a relationship or in marriage. What you're expecting to is that mutual benefit, mutual understanding, supporting each other emotionally, financially, relationally, even somebody to talk to freely, and you're safe to share, because sometimes you're looking for a girlfriend to share because you haven't got a husband to share with. I mean, next time we're going to talk about men, because I know some men also are in similar situation, that they're trying to do everything possible for their wives, and they're never acknowledged or not ever respected.
Correct.
Maybe the women are looking for something else, out there, the dream person. And the essence of this is, I think we're going to go to the beginning of it, because we don't want to do medicine after death. So, Mimi, for them to have found themselves in this situation, is it sometimes accidental? Did it start like that? Like from the start you knew it and then you just continue, or is it situational that the man will get out of the situation where they are and you don't need to wear pants, or is this perpetual?
I think again, situation, listening to so many people and observing. I'm an academic.
I think your speaker is your microphone is going in and out. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, better, better.
I'm leaning in forward. So when you look and you listen to people,
Mm.
sometimes they don't even see it themselves because they're so caught up in the situation. But we also have a culture where, I don't know, and this is across the continent. Marriage is a beautiful thing when you're happy. I'm
Yeah.
not going to ever dispute that. However, that does not seem to be the case anymore for a majority of people that I speak to, and people confide to us. And one of the biggest challenges is that they feel they are married, but they don't have the support of what you expect in a marital relationship. So she is there, she's doing everything. How many women can literally just take off and go away for 2 months without leaving money behind, without leaving anything behind with the basic, and expect that everything has to be done for the children and everything? How many can do that? I think anybody who's watching this show or listening, and I'm really talking about our Australian context. And
Right.
again, I think I can objectively also talk about other contexts that I've observed in other settings following through my travels.
Mm.
And you find that those women are then left behind. They're struggling with the children. They have 3, 4, 5, 6 children. In Melbourne, some have 7, 8 children in Melbourne. They don't have family, as in mother or father, to support them with those children. They don't have sisters or cousins. They're on their own with those large families. Large families is a beautiful thing. I come from, but those social structures following migration are often absent. So as a result, this woman is supposed to be working, drop pick children from school, drop pick them from sports and everything, and then support the family situation. But also then when the man comes back, there's an expectation that she is supposed to worship him and treat as, this is my man, this is my king, this is, I think it makes it hard emotionally because you've already taken that away from her, but also she doesn't have that energy to give back to you because she's directing all of that energy elsewhere in doing all of these other things. So,
Mhm.
and then somebody who's ideally supposed to be the provider, right? In some situations, by no choice of their own, they find that they cannot. But I also say that it's because people refuse to do certain jobs because they think that they are beneath them. Most women, they don't care. They're just gonna do the job anyway. They wanna earn money. But I have come across men where they feel like, I want my wife to go and do HK. I want my wife to go and work in the nursing home. I want my wife to go and do this. Why can't you do it yourself? I train this person. How many people have come through the conversations of, oh, I trained that person and this. Why didn't you do the training for yourself since you're also just as intelligent and things like that? So we need to really reflect about why are we having these challenges. And then we're ending up with a lot of children who are delinquents out there. All right. There is a
Mm.
significant cultural shift and we have a responsibility. But for women in particular, you need to ask yourself in these situations, is it worth carrying this banner? And what is the message that you are giving your own children, sons and daughters, in terms of family responsibilities and relationships?
So you saying that sometimes they have 4 children and 5 children. Sorry,
And more.
I'm just gonna be a devil's advocate here. Were
Yeah.
they forced to have those children? Us, I think with what you said, I heard you, but this is Australia. I don't think anyone can force you to do what you don't want to. I don't know. I'm just talking because of different family dynamics, right? So I don't know what happened. And that is the essence of this show, to be able to talk. You heard from different angle, I'm hearing from different angle. Why would you have four, five, six children in this country when you know you can't afford it? Is
What
it that
about
men?
9 or 8? You talking about 4 is a very
So
good number.
is it the men's problem with that? That I don't think that
I,
is men's problem.
I'm not blaming no man and all of that, but you have to realize you're a very empowered woman. And I can tell you, I cannot tell you how many women I had conversations with one on one. And one of them, I think she was on her fifth child. And we had this conversation maybe 10 years ago, that particular lady, and she ended up having another 2 children. And I could see that they were struggling. And I think they had a 3 or 4 bedroom house. And if you think that 5 children plus 2 adults, those were already 7 people. Then they had another 2 more children later on, right? In that situation. Both parents really had limited uh, English language skills, but there were times that the guy would take off for a period of time. And there are odd, I don't want to stigmatize or call certain communities, but I'm talking about across the spectrum from some of the communities that we have some of the most educated people. When I see somebody says, oh, I'm going to Africa for 3 months or 5 months, I always ask the question, did you leave behind the resources to your wife to ensure that she and the children will be okay for that length of time? Going away for a month, that's okay. But we're talking about people who go away for, significant periods of time, and these women are left behind to carry all the responsibilities. Because sometimes it's not only the time, it's not about money, it's also the emotional
Mhm,
responsibility
mhm.
that is supposed to be shared uh, within by parents. But then we also have that culture that you have to be married, right? It's still a big thing. And I think migrants
Mhm.
carry it more so than even people back home, because when they go back to their home countries, they realize that they're actually living in a time capsule because a lot of people have moved on.
It's married and unmarried. I know a lot
No,
of people
married, unmarried.
unmarried, unmarried.
Correct.
I do have a lot of people that are in this situationship that they can't get out of. And I don't know why. Especially, I mean, you're talking about the one that has got 5 children, 8, 7 children. Fair enough, maybe they are entangled for forever. But if you haven't got all those children, why are you still being emotionally damaged, financially damaged, communication wise, there's nothing there. Why? Why? I say this, I'm not
Because the family wants them there. Because they want the
yesterday
community.
yesterday at AMA,
Yeah.
I was
Africa
talking
Day.
to African Day,
Yeah.
ADA. I was talking to one of the young ladies there.
Yeah.
You will know this girl if I tell you she's about 25. And she
Yeah.
was telling me, she's a big girl, she's big in our community. And she was going out with, a guy before, and then she told me they broke up and she's got another one. We talked somehow, and she's like, anyway, I'm not going to have a kid. Never. I can't do it. I can't even manage it. I don't want to have it. She's the only child of the mother. And I know the mother nurtured, like, all everything, all her life is poured into this girl. And I'm like, you know what? She said, it's a big commitment. I'm not doing it. So the kids nowadays, these days, they are very sure what they're doing, what they're not going to do. And sometimes we put them down and say they're too much, they're asking for too much. But some of the people that are putting them down, they have not got anything to write home about in terms of relationship. You got nothing. Why are we still pushing the kids to just marry that one, manage it? It's going to get better. And have kids, have this, and have that. I don't advocate for that because it's a disaster that you're pushing for the future to happen. In our time, it's
Yeah.
really terrible in our set. Bad relationship. I know why, which I'm going to get into later. I have an idea, especially the migrants from where I'm from, is the pressure of the family. You have to. Everything is being designed linear. You go to uni, you get a job, you get married, that's it. That has to be sequential like that. And so we all thought marriage. We don't look for, does this person, is it compatible emotionally? Does he I'll let you come in. We've got
Okay,
some points here.
fantastic. I think you've touched on some great points, but I think one of the key things that you said, and the key word is manage,
Hmm.
that the parents are telling the children to manage. And I
Manage.
think it is one of the worst pieces of advice that any parent could give their child. The
Hmm.
best piece of advice and what you can do is to support your children. And I will always say this: listen to them when they say to you that
Hmm.
that relationship is not working.
Hmm.
And if you did manage yours, it doesn't give you a right to tell them to manage theirs. And
Manage.
I know people will say, oh, but our great grandmothers and our grandmothers and our mothers and all of that, how many generations? And we are living in the 21st century. So it's making children to take those decisions, like the one that you just shared. In
Hmm.
her situation, she's decided, I'm the end of the generation. That's literally what she says, right? She's going to
Yeah.
be the end of that generation for her
Hmm.
mother
Hmm.
because she's not having any children. We
Hmm.
don't know what she's been through
Right.
in the process, and there are many of them. But there's also and I think this is something that we can discuss at another time, almost like a peer pressure. You talk about peer pressure, we think about teenagers, but even the older ones, where family is now being seen as a burden, where we always felt like family, it was this uniting force, it was the space that we all felt safe with, and regardless of whatever was happening. But there is exposure. We live in the 21st century. We have the fourth industrial revolution. Everybody carries, literally a computer in their palm everywhere they go. So there's that interconnectedness, regardless of the setting. There are lots of good things as a result of technology. It's facilitated and enhanced and and improved our well-being. But there's also the damage. There are the negative and the side effects because
Yes.
people pick up on the negatives as well. And it's about sieving through this information. It's a dearth of information and how you use and apply that. But we also still think about our culture, our values. I'm one of the greatest advocates of all this. But we also have to acknowledge that we are in the 21st century and that we have to really think about what is going on because the separation and divorce rate we know in our community is significantly high. Is that true?
Hi. Yes, it's
But we
true.
also know that, individuals, it's difficult to build wealth. When you look at family wealth and all of that, it has to be systems. It has to be a group of people in place, not just husband and wife, but communal families. And the
Mhm.
structures are in place. So if everything keeps falling apart, what are we saying to the next generation and the generation after that? They have to start all over like you, rather than build on the foundation. And to do that, everybody needs to be together. So we need to really think about, we need to support and avoid the situations where we have married women
Mm.
living in these situationships.
I also think, Mimi, I think also we should support each other
Mm.
and let them know that they're not alone. Because I've seen a lot of relationship these days after 30 years. 30
Yeah,
years. And
yeah,
the relationship was, the breakage was not even smooth, like a nice one. I mean, after 30 years, you
yeah.
still divorce brutally. I don't understand. After 30 years. So it doesn't matter how nasty the man is or how nasty the woman is. After 30 years of your life invested in relationship, I don't think it should break nastily with what I'm seeing these days. So it means, what it means to me is that this person, either one or both of them, hated each other from the start. They hated, in fact, when you listen to these people speak, you think they were two strong enemies. There wasn't anything good from day one, from the birth of the first child, second child, nothing. Nothing was good from
But
day
then you
one.
ask what kept them for that length of time. This is something that I also say people don't leave the situations within a month, within 6 months, within 12 months. Most often than not, it takes years, especially in situations where, and maybe for some women when they don't have the financial independence, which is so important.
I
Why
hear that
it's
a lot.
really important to have that level of protection in terms of, make a contribution. We're not saying that you earn money is set, because another situation that we must talk about is the situation where women don't share their resources. It
Mhm.
is just my income, it is just mine, and I just do whatever. And yet then you watch the other party struggle with everything. So we've also got the flip of this, where we've got the situations where, um, for example, I heard of a situation recently. Two African people were married. I think they've probably been together for 10, 15 years, have children together or even longer, but they come from two different African countries.
Hmm.
So, but they've always lived together. They're married in Australia. You're building a house in your country, and the other person is building a house in their country. Yes, that was exactly
O-
my reaction. So you can
okay.
imagine then the pressure on both sides as well, in terms of each of them is, so where is the trust, where is the commitment, because each of them is having their own resources in two different parts, and then where they live, literally they don't live here, right? But they're not also living in either of the countries. But that is also saying to you that in that particular situation, none of them is ever going to follow the other party to where they come from. And then you ask the question, why are they together?
Wow. See, I will really want us to talk about married and unmarried men as well. The reason why I said this was recently, I'll say this very quickly. There was another lady that was in a situation. The man brought this lady from overseas. The man was a student. By the time she came, he was still a student. He was struggling. The girl will use resources anyhow, lights unending, a heater, shower, like a lot of resources. And this guy kept on saying, you're consuming, do you understand? It's expensive. This girl just came from overseas, has no idea. It's like, but you are abroad. Can we use power? This is abroad. The guy was working for a long time, for about 3 months, she told me, and she never understood. And so I had to talk to this girl, like, you need to understand he's a student. He's just doing struggles to get some money to pay all these things. You knew he was a student, but you assume even a student that is working abroad in Australia will have money, but he might not. So it became really bad. The guy, there was no communication. No, but this is a new marriage, by the way. This is under 6 months.
Yeah, but
So,
can I let me respond to that? Then you continue, right? We
mhm.
need to go back and look at the context in the message and how he sold himself when he went to get married to her abroad.
I love this. I love that.
Really,
Yeah.
really important, because people give a very false impression of this situation. And then sooner than later, the reality is there and they are unable to face their reality. Number two, and this I say to people, if you live in Australia, right,
Mhm.
and you've been here for 2, 5 years, 10 years, you want to get married, my
Mhm.
God, there's a plethora of men and of women here. But on the other hand, and I'm talking of your cultural background, if you
Yeah.
really want to. And
Yeah.
if you really wanted to, and you did not want to marry a woman, maybe from our home Australian context, but from your background, we've still
Mhm.
got New Zealand, we've got
Mhm.
Fiji, we've got the United Kingdom, we've got the USA. Then, if you want to go to Nigeria or to Cameroon or to Ghana, to Guinea, God knows, Burkina Faso, you have to think about somebody who's had a similar exposure and context to you. And this is where there is that meeting of the minds. And you need to sit down and ask yourself, you have clearly aligned goals. And that is not something that we discuss about. You have to really think about those things a little bit more deeply these days. A lot of us were not given that advice. And one of those people who ran away from a very bad situation. And anybody who knows me knows that I praise the Lord every day that I did. Because, it's not that anything now is perfect, but at the same time, it's like, it's a topic for another day, but it's really important that people really need to think about it. And this is where, when we talk about the unmarried married woman, how long do you want to continue carrying that weight? I think I uploaded it after 5 years or so.
I'm going to. I heard you. I heard you. That the way, maybe the way the man sell himself and everything.
Right.
But as a wife, I think you have to be understanding as well. I mean, you're gonna sell yourself to buy some
Absolutely.
whatever. So when the girl
Absolutely.
comes, I actually absolutely disagree with this girl. I'll tell you why. After
Yeah.
I had a big conversation and series of conversation, and she told me, this guy was nasty, abusive, and terrible. So it became really bad because now he's very angry that I don't have a wife that is understanding. You're a very bushy girl. Blah, blah, blah. Fair enough. This guy did everything to push her away, but she wouldn't go. She came to me the other day and she's like, "Oh, Mama, that man is not that bad actually, because sometimes he gives me money. But you told me he kicked you. He does a lot of things to you. Now you came back and said, "Oh, it's not a bad man. Sometimes he can give me money." After you've been crying for 3 months. If I say
But
anything further, it's gonna be
yeah,
really bad. This guy actually, like he had, I don't want to say because she might know that I'm talking about her, but she felt hurt, physically hurt, and the guy didn't even look back, did nothing. But then you went and you continue. So this guy is resenting you from now. So you're gonna be married or married, I can assure you now. So the essence of
if
why
you're
I say
watching this
sometimes
show,
she might be
so he
watching
can,
this show. She knows she was hurt physically. The guy did not look back. He went to work. It didn't ring when he got to work. Never rang at all. This is a marriage under 6 months. I mean months, not years. And she stayed there. So this guy knows that this girl is
it's
not on
gonna
the
get
same level.
worse.
It's gonna get worse. And so if this guy hated you for the rest of his life because you refused to go, I know a man that told me that if this woman doesn't go, somebody's gonna die. He did. He did. He wrote it down and gave it to his children. Give it to your mother. I'm done. Tell her not to harass me or chase me again. I'm done. If she does not stop, somebody is going to die. The man literally ran away forever. He did. He ran. We never cited him. He ran away because he was going to kill somebody.
And
But it was bad. He's been saying this for like 3 years before he
yeah,
finally ran. So the woman is the one that stays in this relationship, and then we see a lot of married or married. I'm trying to let us walk back to the genesis of this. Sometimes the men are trapped. The women, like you said something, and I hear this a lot, Mimi, that financially. What do you mean
yeah.
financially? For me,
Well,
I can come to your house, Mimi, because you're busy. I know you're busy now. You work, you're lecturing at university, you travel. I'll come and do your laundry. Anything that will give me money, I will, because I'll do it very nicely. You'll be so comfortable that you know your house is done, your laundry is done. You will even pay double because of the way I will look after your home. Literally, I will do that now if I have to do. So what are the women doing in Western world? And they're saying financially. If you're crying of financial, you are probably not fit to be a wife either. I'm
Mama
serious.
Temi, I don't think you're gonna do that for me, but thank you for saying that,
I will
because
do
this is
that for
about
you, please.
educating people about the humility from somebody like you at your level, right? And I think we are in a situation where people don't understand building as well from the ground up. People want to build from the top down, and that is the biggest. It's almost like you're trapped to failure. You must invest before you go and start buying brand new cars. Just get that message.
Chanel bag.
Why? If you cannot buy it 2 or 3 times, then that means you cannot afford it. That's the rule of thumb. If you want to go and buy that car, if it's $100,000, if you cannot afford it twice, then you can't afford it. If you want to go and buy your Louis Vuitton bag or whatever, Hermes, Birkin, that's all right. If you cannot buy that same bag twice on that day, then at that point in time you can't afford it, you may later on. So it's really about thinking about the pressures that people are also putting on themselves. That said, I must tell you, I think the majority of women that I know and that I come across, they bear a lot of the burden. And
I
yes,
know.
there is a minority of the males in the situationships. However, the I would
The
say
women.
the women bear the brunt of it. And I guess in situations where I've heard, oh, she's got 3 children or 4 children or 2 children even. Who is going to look at her? So it's almost like,
Oh,
well, I've trapped you
that's
already
a
with
lie.
those children. Where are you
That's a
going to
lie.
go? Right?
That's a
And that
lie.
is verbalized. And the women then start believing that.
Mm.
They start
It's not true.
believing that because they've been made to feel so small about themselves. So again, this is another conversation in
It's
empowerment.
not true.
How you carry yourself, how you feel about you have to look good for you, not for anybody.
That's right. That's right.
If you want
Listen,
to
I
impress people,
love,
it's not gonna last.
I really like this topic. I really, really like it. And what you just said, 3, 4, nobody is going to look after you. You're not happy. The guy's not happy. You're both trapped. It doesn't make sense, and there's no godliness or holiness or happiness or growth. And the children, they're going to. I feel so sorry. You're going to use the rest of your life paying for therapists for your children, because now they don't know what love is. They don't know what relationship is. One of my girlfriends, she was telling me yesterday, she married the first, the second, the third, maybe the third. I think this is the fourth. The fourth is the fourth is the best relationship she's ever been in.
That's
After
good because she
all,
refused to settle. As
she did
Jennifer
not
just said,
settle. She
she
got,
refused
now
to.
she's getting the best. I'm telling you, the guy that she got, I'm like, what the, from where?
Yeah.
How did you get him? Like, they are now on the cruise today, on the cruise tomorrow, enjoying the best life. And by the way, she's gonna get married, as in wedding. After
Okay.
all that, my whatever mate
I
is
think
gonna
it's
get married.
Helberry said people say, oh, why is she moving from one relation? She said, because I refuse to settle.
Yeah,
And a lot of us and a lot of women, they
are
settle.
settling. Yeah, they settle because they are. You listen. They are illiterate. Illiterate in the sense that they are not. You said it before at the start of your topic, your speech. They were not exposed, because if you are exposed, then again you need to see the association of friends around them. Who are they associating with? That's going to determine their level of exposure. Like, do you know exactly what love is, what marriage is? If you can't really define it, so if you're out of this scope, you're not going to know, you know. But if you go to the school of thought, if you learn, and you learn from people, you learn by yourself, you go to school, go for counseling, spend a little bit of money. Next year I'm going to Dubai now again. My husband just reminded me today. Have you registered for that Dubai? My husband is the one reminding me. You don't understand. It's not. I've got one of the best relationship ever. Glory be to God. But then we're still learning, and he's learning, and I'm learning. Well, how to make it better. Like our house. We're refurbishing house. We're refurbishing office. Why are we not refurbishing our relationship? Why are we not going to work on our relation? We do. So I solicit to people to be honest. Talk to people. Again, people don't trust. They say, oh, they're pretending. Their relationship is not good. They're pretending. No, there are some people that are pretending. There are some of us that can't pretend. What you see is what you get. Why will I pretend, Mike? If you're pretending, let me tell you this before we go. Even the children are angry that you're pretending. Our children are angry that you're pretending. So if you cannot come boldly and speak, because your children is going to call you out. They will go on social media tomorrow and say, my parents or African relationship are trash. It's not African relationship, it's their parents' relationship that they're talking about, because they don't know a lot of African. It's their parents' relationship that is trash. So we cannot lie. Just find people that are honest, that maybe seemingly enjoying their relationship, and honestly talk to them, so you
Yeah.
know what it means to be in
And
a
it,
healthy, loving, godly relationship. You know, I have one of the best, my pastor, women, lady pastor, brilliant. She does not even know how, I mean, she's Aussie, but she doesn't even know how to pretend ever. My senior pastors, I'm saying, if you ask her, where's your husband? Oh my gosh, he just left this bottle. Can you, like, we don't need to pretend. If you're pretending online, you're lying to yourself, to your
yeah,
spirit and your soul. My solicit is find somebody you can confine, ask what it is that is a healthy relationship. How do you define it? Seriously. Enough of women suffering for me and enough of men suffering in this entanglement. It's bad.
absolutely. So
Anyway,
next time we talk about the unmarried married men.
I really want to talk about unmarried married men because I think the reason why I want to talk about that, I'm sorry to say, not disrespect to any woman or to us, the men got it. In my book, I've seen a lot of men. I talk to men and I talk to women. Men got it. And so if we can face the men, maybe they can help the women because we're making noise. Leave the women alone. Let the women breathe. But a lot of us are not, we're dropping the ball. The men get it. Let's talk about the men. Because if the men
Absolutely.
find a way to handle this relationship
A lot
better,
of good men out there. I can
and
testify.
they got it, they got in my, and somehow they got it when I talk to them.
Yeah,
And they unapologetic. But it's just that this
absolutely.
sometimes our women hold them in the neck. They don't
Yeah,
let them breathe. Then they bash you. Then they push you. Then they punish you and punish the children. So let's talk about married, unmarried men next week. So the men should look out and see. And you must comment as well. If this is true, what I'm saying, if this is true, what Professor Mimi is saying, you need to let us know. And we will discuss about it. But it's 42 minutes now. It's always good to chat, have a good conversation with you. And I know you're helping a lot of women. I'm too. But sometimes it's very hard for me to get through to some of our women. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're watching this, and it's the truth. I tell them to their faces as well. So let us have fun. Life is short. Let us maximize it. We're just
and
coming from. Go ahead.
the most important thing is the whole self-care. You have to value yourself. Sometimes it's not because the woman is bad or the man is bad. It's just because the two of you are not compatible and he is looking elsewhere just as the woman is looking elsewhere. And this is why we end up with the situation. So, but still, if you feel like you want to be able to have freedoms to do certain things, you should not forget your at-home responsibilities. Thank you.
As a man, like the Hausa people will say.
No, both sides.
Both sides. Okay. Both sides.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you. On that note, we're going to call it a day today, and we see you same time next week. Bye for now.